What's up, world? What's up, YouTube? What's up, Facebook? What's up, Twitter? What's up, social media? It is I, Lee Zellars, Basement Show, Basement Talk. Y'all know what time it is. What you doing? Hope everything's going fantastic in your world. Everything is good here in Cincinnati, Ohio. I got my man sitting in, as y'all can see. You know, most of the time when I'm doing this, sometimes I'm solo, sometimes I got somebody here. As you can see, I got my man sitting here, Mr. Robert Jones, filmmaker, author, writer, producer, entertainment extraordinaire. Show me some love, bro.
You got it, man. It's a pleasure to be here, Lee.
Hey, man.
Pleasure to be here, man.
Hey, I'm glad to have you on the show. We just gonna jump in. So, man, we about to head into these holidays.
Mm-hmm.
I done put this out here before. I done said this and y'all know this. I hate holidays. I'm just gonna say it. I hate fucking holidays. I just do. The one that's coming up right now, the one I hate the most is Christmas.
Christmas?
Fucking Grinch. It's depressing sometimes, man. It's just, I was watching a commercial today, and it's set up like this little movie. And this girl, she see her father go out to the garage looking, and the father goes in the garage, and it's an old Chevy Cadillac, Chevy's not a Chevy Cadillac, because Chevy don't make Cadillac. Sorry about that, Chevy, but maybe you should make some Cadillacs. It's an old Chevrolet in there. He gets in the old Chevrolet. He pulls out a picture of his wife. His wife used to sit in the passenger side. He sits there and he looks at the picture and he looks over in the car and he starts crying. He leaves out the barn. His daughter sees all of that. She takes the car, get the car restored. The father goes back into the garage, and all this stuff takes place in about 30 seconds. They do a good job with this little short film. Father goes back into the garage, and he sees this new, customized Chevy, revamped. He gets all excited, gets in it, and started that baby up like he used to back in the day. Got that little lean, he comes out the garage, go pick his daughter up in the front of the house, and he's like, "Thank you, baby girl." And she's like, "You're so wonderful, Dad," and some stuff. And I'm like, okay, that's some sad shit. I don't know how that's supposed to make me want to go buy one of your damn cars. You just depressed me for this Christmas shit. I digress. Mr. Jones, how is the holidays treating you? I mean, you don't have to ride it like I did. I mean, I'm just...
Well, I'm going to keep it real, and I respect people that's not into Christmas, because I got friends that don't celebrate Christmas, and Muslims, and everybody, a lot of people that don't celebrate Christmas. And my thing is, I'm gonna just keep it real, man. I've always been a sucker for Christmas. I just like Christmas, okay? And it's a traditional thing, I know, and it's a commercial aspect, but I just celebrate it. I always go out for Christmas, man. So around the holidays, I try to spend time with my family and quality time with my wife and family. I make sure that that's a priority in my life.
Well, I mean, and then I'm gonna tell you, I was telling the story the other day with some people, and they was kind of like, "Damn, Lee, why you always Scrooge?" Because on the job, we had this thing called Secret Santa, and I'm like, I'm not participating. I'm not buying nobody no gifts. I don't want nobody buying me no gifts. So then they're like, "Why are you such a Scrooge?" I had to tell them the story. I did participate in the Christmas dinner, though, and the food was good. I forgot who catered it in, but the shit was really good. I did participate in the Christmas dinner, and I told the story at the table. I'm like, gather around, I want y'all to get a little sad for a minute, because I'm finna get y'all into this idea of why I don't do this. I'm like, okay, for a long time in my life, we had like wonderful Christmas gifts, toys, because Christmas was like my father's birthday as well. He was born on Christmas Day. Oh, so it was like a double celebration.
Yeah.
And then, we having Christmas, I'm a kid, and Christmas and everything is great. And then one day my dad come in and he's like, "Family, we're gonna be Jehovah's Witnesses." I'm like, okay. What exactly do that mean, Dad? This Christmas shit, Thanksgiving shit, birthday shit. He didn't say it like that because my father didn't really cuss. But he was basically like, "Won't be no more of that."
It's over.
It's like, I'm 12 years old. You can't tell me no shit like this at 12 years. Ain't gonna be no more Christmas. So now I gotta go through the next, from 12 to 18, because when I get 18, I can do my own shit. I had to go through all this time, man, without having Christmas. And my friends, they getting new bikes, they riding bikes. Lee, look what we got. So that kind of screwed me up with Christmas. So then I got to the point where I can have Christmas. I had Christmas for my kids, did all of that stuff for a while. Then we kind of changed it up and did our own Christmas thing. And it's just, I know I go off into this tantrum about Christmas and the holidays. But
No, I mean, it's right around the corner.
Yeah, it's right around the corner. I'm just trying to get through it. But I got to celebrate it because I got to get my girl stuff. And, you know, I used to cop the Jehovah's Witness thing back in the day when somebody asked me, like, yeah, so what'd you give me for Christmas? Well, baby, I would love to get you the world, but see, I'm a Jehovah's Witness. I don't get that shit. I'm sorry. Yeah, but I got to do a little bit of it. And I hope, for people that celebrate it, I don't knock them, enjoy it. I always say, whatever floats your boat, do your thing, do what you like. I just hate fucking Christmas.
I like to just make one comment. He was one of my best friends. Everybody downtown knew him, Fat Fish. And we used to do a whole lot of stuff together. He was a Jehovah's Witness.
Oh, was he?
So it was just the opposite. He said, man, you got all this stuff up here. I ain't got nothing, man. You know, he passed away a couple of years ago, but me and him was real tight.
Okay.
You know, so I know how that go, man.
So I got my man here, he did a movie. A lot of y'all know about it. Grandpa the movie. Written by this man here. Creative idea, everything about it. This whole movie game, man, you think about it, and we're going to touch on some of the stuff about your film. This thing, man, with Alec Baldwin and the shooting that took place on the set, and I haven't had a chance to get into that yet, and I'm going to get into it on another podcast about my movie Dick. Don't get the wrong idea, it ain't that kind of... Stop. You got nasty thoughts out there. It's not that kind of dick. It's about a private detective that they called a dick. But it's a thing I'm gonna talk about in there where we use some live guns with live rounds. I hate to say a few times.
Well, when you say that, I would like to comment on that because I don't think the public is aware of just how eccentric we filmmakers are. We know we do some crazy shit sometimes.
Yeah.
And I did some stuff because you want that feel.
Right.
You want that feel. When people watch Grandpa, that first scene in the movie, that's all unscripted.
Right.
And they real thugs.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I wanted that feel.
That authentic.
You know what I mean? And I think, I wanted to comment on that. I think that bullet in that gun wasn't a mistake.
It's very well, man, a possibility that somebody, you know.
I think that they might have forgot the gun was there and they got busy doing something else. And because a lot of times filmmakers, like you say, they use real guns. Right. They do a lot of things just to get that effect and to get that feeling for it. Most people will say, oh, no, but it's the truth.
Yeah, and one of the things that I heard earlier, but then it seemed like that story, it didn't circle back around for whatever reason. But early, when I first heard about the shooting taking place, and then when all the questions came out about it, I forgot they call the person who watches over the gun, they got a term for that. But then there was a story that had surfaced said that during the breaks, because they was out there like in the desert, and this made sense to me, that some of the crew and some of the cast members were going around to some little back area and they was doing target practice. So my thinking was the possibility it was doing target practice. They got live guns already on the set, so they might even want to try some of the live guns. Somebody forgot one in the chamber. That might have been the one. But then too, he said this. The first time he said that, I was like, I don't know about that. He said he had cocked the trigger back to get this camera shot. And a lot of times, which I don't know out there, it's like sometimes the cinematography, she just want a close-up shot of a slow motion of the hammer being cocked back on the gun. So that's what he was doing. He said when he let go of the hammer, it fired. And I was like, put the hammer back, the hammer don't fire until you squeeze the fucking trigger. But then I thought about, though, if you clicking it back right, if you pulling the hammer back right before it locked, and if you let it go,
that's it.
Yeah.
Well, you know, one of the scenes in Grandpa, in the very beginning, when I jump on the guy, that water that's on that stove,
right,
that was boiling hot water.
Yeah.
And Deborah, she felt uncomfortable about that.
Right,
you know, I'm in there arguing, and we going back and forth and stuff. And I remember before we shot the scene, she said, "You gonna really leave that hot water on the stove like that?" I said, "Yeah, that could have been some messed up stuff." But I wanted that water like that. Look, I wanted that look, you know. Right. So yeah, that could have happened, man.
Yeah,
that could have happened.
Yeah, that's a messed up situation. it's the thing now. Everybody's like, well, no more live weapons on the sets, and we'll start using CGI effects for the gunshot, for the muzzle flash and all that. And I'm just kind of thinking about how stupid that is, because I'm like, y'all Hollywood, y'all got the biggest of budgets. There was never no need for y'all to have weapons, because y'all have the editors is working with the best software to give you the best look for a gun when it fires. So I don't know, but independent people, we gotta sometimes tell people like, look, this is a real gun. I'm firing off some real shots. Make sure ain't nobody standing that way. Nah, don't do that. That's dangerous.
I ain't go really come out with it, because I'm not going to incriminate myself. But that scene where all the guys is around me, if you really look at my face, I'm looking real serious. Now, who's to say that one of them guns might have been real? Maybe I didn't tell you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But that makes the whole scene more dynamic.
Right.
That makes that whole scene more dynamic.
Yeah, because
you got that feel.
Right.
You got that feel of it.
And it was on 20. I think it was a 2020 special they did about the whole Alec Baldwin thing. And they spoke with this special effect guy, and he was a stuntman / special effect guy, or whatever. And he was saying, basically some of what I was saying. He was like, they can use the special effects and all that kind of stuff in editing, but he said the thing with that is, what we be going after is when we got a real gun that got that authentic weight in it, and we got blanks in it, so when that actor fired that shot, we get that real reaction of that jerk motion, the reaction of their eyes closing, and that. He said, you don't always get that when you got to tell them to go squeeze and pretend like you shooting. So I understood that, and it makes sense, but that's just a messed up all around situation, and we're gonna get into a lot of that stuff. Especially we're really gonna get into the movie Grandpa, this creative idea that have to swirl around in your head for a while, and you gotta kind of mix it around and see what falls down out of your hand, and like, okay, what is this working on about that? I'm gonna leave this in, because if people don't understand the process of filmmaking and this whole thing that we do is very time consuming, is a lot more involved than what people don't know. And when you see a man sitting here like his who have completed a feature film, it is not an easy task by no means.
It's almost impossible to do.
Yeah.
I mean, when you really think about it, I mean, people don't have the slightest clue.
The slightest.
I mean, I wrote it, produced it, directed, starred in it.
Right.
It's a beast. But one of the reasons, I got several reasons why I wanted to really do the movie. And I'm a grandfather in real life.
Right.
So I embrace where I'm at.
Right.
I got a grandson in real life. But one of the things I really wanted to stay focused on, and I think a lot of people, when they watch the movie, it's kind of like a real subtle thing in the movie. But Chris Styles, when she talks about black on black crime,
right,
I wanted to highlight that in the movie. Okay. Because I think this black on black crime is very important. I think it's one of the major issues in our community. And if we don't do nothing about it, we the one gonna wind up killing one another. Yeah. So that was one of the main reasons why I did the movie.
Okay. Well, what we gotta do, because we always do this moment, anytime I got a guest on, gotta get the selfie. Because y'all know how it is in this whole social media world. If you ain't recording your goddamn self eating, dancing, singing, smoking, drinking, taking a shit, it don't exist. We in this kind of world where everything is about, showing where you at, what you doing at the time, so we gotta get this little. Well, we back after that break. What did you go do? Took care of your business, whatever you had to do. I just got to also give a shout out to my man, forgot about this, Gary Locks, down in Louisville, premium cigars. Thanks for the t-shirt, cigars, excellent cigars. Dude shipping up cigars from Louisville. Just want to show some love. Gary Locks, I know about the cigars. This is for the people that like to smoke and burn some ash. Gotta burn some ash sometimes. Back with my man Robert Jones.
I'm feeling all right now, Lee.
See, it's after 3. I don't know where you at, what time zone you in. But over here in Cincinnati, it's after 3 o'clock. And I had this kind of thing about people that drink before 3. You drink before 3 o'clock, you're an alcoholic. That's just hands down. I'm just gonna say it.
What?
You're just an alcoholic. If people know after drinking after 3 is like people. That's the drinking time. Can I get some amen? Some kind of thank you. That's for the people that drink after 3. For those people who like to drink, before 3 o'clock, we can't get them no love. We just gotta get them that little thing. Did a lot of this over the weekend.
I know you did.
So man, the whole thing with the movie. When did you do the movie?
It was, I think, about 3 years ago now.
3 years.
Yeah. Time be flying, man. And I'm kind of glad that we did it when we did with this Corona.
Think about that.
Man, that was just, that was God.
We didn't. Who would have known? 3
years from now. And I'm gonna tell you something else too. I think I told you this. I don't think you thought about it. Every day that we shot that film, when you shot that film outside, it never rained.
No, it didn't.
Even when we had to shoot another scene over, the
Right.
cemetery scene, we shot that scene about 3 times.
Right.
It never rained.
Yeah, that's always that's like
Yeah.
a blessing in disguise, because sometimes it's like
Oh man.
the day that you might. That's why I say that people don't understand.
People don't
the struggle with
understand,
this film.
man.
You might have
Yeah.
something scheduled that day, like okay, we're gonna shoot blah blah. Then all of a sudden
It's raining.
Damn, got to reschedule.
Oh yeah, man. This is a job doing a film, man.
So like we was talking, like and you was talking before I said this after 3 o'clock. You can drink after 3 o'clock. You drink before then, you're an alcoholic. There was a scene in the movie, as we was talking about indulging a little bit a while ago. There's a scene in the movie where you're smoking a little bit of that wacky weed. That's what some people call it, wacky weed, chronic, skunk. They got tons of names out there. Back in my day, it was Acapulco Gold.
Yep.
Red.
Yep.
Paul Mount, Pale Male, or Pale something, Pale. I can't remember all that stuff. Just the tequila. So in that scene, you got a couple scenes in there.
Right. And I felt as though I wanted to give this movie a different kind of flavor. Now I know some people gonna be like, "Oh man, he promoting drugs and all that shit." We talking about a movie. We talking about entertainment, and also I wanted to give it again that real feel.
Right.
Okay, I wanted it to be real. So I wanted to be actually high every time you watch the movie Grandpa and you see me high. I'm really fucked up.
See,
that ain't no acting. I'm really fucked up, and that's some real weed on the set.
See,
you understand? I mean, that's the way I wanted it to be.
No, that's you wanted that, because sometimes there's been actors who had to play certain roles where it's like, okay, I'm playing the drunk. I can pretend to play this drunk, or I can just be this drunk and just make sure I got my lines and be in character. And I'm pretty sure there's been some times where there's been some actors where they let them, okay, we'll try this out, see how you do it. We let you go ahead and drink and see how this works.
Right.
Then it might have been the next day they might have said, no, we're not going to let you do this no more.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I think for me to play that character, Grandpa, I really wasn't acting.
Right.
I was just playing myself. So that made it real easy for me to pull off.
Okay.
When you hear me talking about these young fools out here, that's how I really feel. And smoking the weed all throughout the movie, that's part of me.
Right.
So it was real, and that's the way I wanted it to be. I didn't want none of that fake Hollywood shit.
Right.
That's why I did it myself.
Bad host. I slapped my own self. Phone went out. Didn't check my phone. That's another thing we have on the movie set that could be a problem.
It do what it do.
So what's scene in there that because every time that most people do a film or whatever, I think for most writers, directors or whatever, there's probably a scene in the movie that you ask them what was that scene that was the deepest, had the most impact, or meant the most to you in some type of way. What scene was there? A scene?
I'm glad you brought that up, because the manager out there at the Kenwood Theater, when I had to show her the film before we showed it at the premiere out there at the Kenwood Theater, they wanted to look at it, and when she looked at it, the scene that she picked that really got to her, that's the deepest scene in the movie. And a lot of people don't get it. It's a very erotic scene where I got all the women, they buck naked, they laying on the bed. Because I know you, at first you didn't think it was going to be nothing. You was like, man, I don't get it. You got all these women laying across the bed, they buck naked, ain't nothing going on, ain't nothing happening. I said, Lee, you going to get it after we shoot it.
Right.
Well, the ironic part about that scene, the deepest part about that scene is that Grandpa is actually thinking about another woman.
Right.
Although he's in the midst of all these beautiful women, they laying across the bed buck naked, he's thinking about the woman that he really loves.
Yeah.
That's the deepest scene in the movie.
And that is, I mean, that is a deep scene because it said a lot. I remember when we were shooting it. I mean, you know, you get to be a cameraman. Sometimes you get special moments. Anyway, so
I know it was a hard scene to shoot.
It was a hard scene to shoot.
Man, there was some beautiful women laying across that bed, boy.
Yeah. I mean, I had to hold the camera. I'm sweating. I'm trying to keep sweat from not dripping on them. Trying to keep sweat off of them because I'm trying to move this camera like, you know, and but in all honesty, and I always say this back even when I was a photographer, it's like there's a professionalism you got to have when you're doing stuff like that.
Oh, you got to.
Because when you got people who are trusting you,
right,
they're taking off their clothes, they laying before you, sitting before you, or whatever.
Right.
You know, you're gonna be in there and all like, looking at them. Hey man, so what are we doing with this? That one scene. You know, that creates a situation where these people they're still trying to be professional. No matter they got their clothes off, they're being professional, and if you're making them feel uncomfortable, you know, so understand that. Yeah, there was a lot of naked women there, but yeah, I was very professional because I have to be.
I'd like to comment on that because I have a lot of respect for photographers and people like yourself. You have to be strong.
Yeah.
Because a photographer like Gladys Moore, who I consider one of the greatest photographers that ever lived, he shot the cover of my books, The Pimp Rap and Church Pimps. Mm-hmm. He was an excellent photographer. In fact, he was an artist. When I first went over his house, he would have women down there buck naked, and his wife would be up there cooking dinner.
Right.
You know, and he really wasn't into them. He was just into art form and the way they was laying and this and that. And I picked up a lot of that from him.
Right.
You know, he was a great photographer. And like you said, you have to maintain that professionalism. Everybody can't do it.
Right. No, everybody can't do it.
Everybody can't
because
do it.
You know, I've had friends who knew I used to do that stuff, and they used to always like, "Can I just like hide out or pretend in the back room somewhere? Pretend I'm the light guy, or something like that." And I'm like, "No, no, because this is a business. And you gotta respect it like that."
Right.
So the part with the grandson, why did you want to why did you want to have a grandson in the movie? Like, why was that important?
Well, my grandson, I have a grandson in real life, and in fact, he'll be 11 years old. And really, he inspired me to do the movie. And I thought having a grandson in the movie, it gives you another dimension of Grandpa. Mm-hmm. You understand? Because Grandpa don't give a damn about these young fools.
Right.
He out there hustling, he doing everything. But when it comes to his grandson, he cares about him. Right. And that's the way I am in real life. That scene in there where I talk to my grandson, I tell him, I said, I don't never want you wearing my cap. You understand? Right. I want you to only wear your cap. And I don't want you to never be like me. I want you to be better than me. That's how I talk to my grandson in real life. You know? Right. So that inspired me a lot to put a character in there that will portray my grandson. The little boy, he did such a great job that people actually think that he's my grandson in real life.
Yeah, he was like an excellent little actor.
You know, when we was auditioning for kids and he came up there, we both looked at one another and said, it's over. Yeah, it's a done deal, man. That boy is off the chain.
Yeah, give him a round of applause. He did a great job. Great job. Y'all haven't seen the movie. Little boy, and I can't think of his name right off, but did an excellent job in the film.
Ashford.
So, like in this movie, you didn't use the different buildings when changing scenes or whatever. Why not?
Okay, I'm gonna keep it real, you know, and I know I'm gonna piss off a lot of people, but you know I don't give a fuck. I think sometimes we as African Americans, all we do is emulate other people. You know, I don't care what level we on, I don't care how much money we got. We have to do things like other people.
Right.
You know, and then that makes it okay. So, Grandpa, when you look at the movie, I wanted to spotlight things that was part of our black culture. Okay. You know what I mean? Instead of just some buildings,
right.
I wanted to definitely do that because I don't know if you remember, we was about done filming the movie. And I told you, I said, Lee, we got to go back and we got to incorporate some of these murals. You know, James Brown and Ezra Charles, some of those things that touch the black heart. I'm so glad that we filmed Alabama's.
Yeah.
You know, Alabama's, I think they're going to reopen.
Hopefully.
You know, but that's the old Alabama.
The old Alabama.
That's the old Alabama.
Right.
So I wanted to touch bases on that. And that meant a whole lot to me. Now, some of these fake ass niggas, they probably can't relate with that.
Right.
But to me, that right there was very important.
Yeah,
that is very important.
Because it's like one of the things I love about, you know, over the years of my filming career, if you want to call it that, is that I was able to like capture some things that's part of our history that's no longer there. Like in my movie OTR, I was looking at that the other day when I was setting it up for the podcast, and I had to just go back and look at some stuff. Mm-hmm. And I was looking at some scenes we shot down there on Vine Street when it was the old Smitty. You know, like all that stuff gone. You know, how I used to look down there, all the little bars, mom and pop lists. You know, and it's like now you got all these little coffee shops and bagel shops and
this is like
donut shops and all this.
Being in a capsule. You know, it just locks you into that time.
Yeah.
You know, and it's something that you're not gonna never forget.
Right. You know? Now we kind of touched on that earlier. About the erotic scene and that being one of the more important scenes because of what it's the scene stated in the sense of although he got all these women, he's thinking about one particular woman. So the question has been raised, like, why is the erotic scene so long? Hey, first, let me just say something. They're beautiful women laying on the bed. I digress. I'll go back to him.
One of the reasons why I wanted that erotic, in fact, I've never seen an erotic scene like that in no movie. Mm-hmm. You know, I've never seen nothing like that. But the reason why I wanted it long like that, because I wanted to appeal and please the men. I think men are going to love that scene. You know, a lot of women might not like it that much. You know, and then some women, you know, that like other women. I mean, we might as well just throw it out there. They're going to love that scene.
Looking like...
You know, like, yeah, okay. And then I wanted the scene to be long, and I had to have the right music for everything to flow. That's a very erotic scene, man.
Yeah.
And I like to do things that's different.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, the scene it's not, but it's moving. It's moving. It got the music flow to it. It had the right, just the style, the look, and then what it set up to. You know, just the whole what that whole scene meant.
I'll tell you something about that scene too that made it very artistic, and it was something that we can admit. They all had them tattoos.
Yeah.
And when it made it real artistic and creative, that right there, when they took off their clothes, we didn't know all three of them had them tattoos on them like that.
Yeah, I thought about that too later because I was thinking about how you had these different tone bodies on this white sheet. You had a dark-skinned girl, brown-skinned girl,
light-skinned girl, yeah.
And then I thought about if those tattoos wasn't on their bodies like that, it wouldn't have gave it that kind of contrast.
It wouldn't have gave it that contrast. Those little things.
Those little things in cinema y'all got to think about. We're going to take a pause right quick. We'll be right back. I know what y'all going to be thinking about during this break. Y'all didn't see the scene. But see, when y'all go to Grandpa, look for it on YouTube. Where you find it on YouTube?
All you have to do is go on my YouTube channel, Robert Jones GrandpaLive, and then put in the movie Grandpa, and it popped right up.
So y'all might want to try to watch that break, but y'all ain't gonna have enough time to watch it during this break. This break can go by so quick. But at least you'll know where to go find a movie. We're gonna put a little thing at the bottom of the screen, so y'all, because I know some of y'all, some people like, I need to see some stuff that I can pause it on the screen and make sure I'm getting it down right. And we want to make sure you're getting it down right, so you can find where the movie's at. That's important. Be right back. Be back in a flash. Hold tight. Now, you had a piece in there about your mom in the story. Like, what was the reasoning for, wanting to highlight your mother in a sense in the story about bringing that part in?
I felt like I wanted to incorporate my mother some kind of way in that movie. And everybody told me, they say, she don't fit. You can forget about that. All the street stuff going on. But I still was determined to do something to put her in there. So I ain't gonna give it away. So when people see it, they'll be able to appreciate it. But I remember when you first saw it, you said that scene got to you. You had a lump in your throat.
Oh, that was deep, man, because anybody within the listening ear, and you've all had a mother because you wouldn't be here without one.
Right.
And if you had one that was good to you,
right.
Like anytime there's something that's it's just something about, man, I don't get the hardest hardcore dude.
Oh yeah.
Love his mama.
Oh yeah.
And something about that can be touching. And just something about knowing that having your mother's spirit in a sense, like watching over you, because sometimes we don't. I just think about how my mother used to constantly pray, and I believe them prayers. Mama, thank you for them prayers because they paid off.
Oh yeah.
And them prayers because they be praying. Mama being there praying for you. Lord, please protect that boy. All this craziness going on. Lord, I ain't had nothing to do with this, but protect my son. And you grateful for that, man, because that sometimes. Having that mother that love and care for you and pray for you and watch you, man, that's everything, bro.
And I remember one time, I can say this because my mother gone now, and I ain't gonna about to lie on my mother. She was in the car, and I had the barbecue hut going, and I said, I gotta stop here. I gotta take care of the business.
Go down that barbecue, because a lot of people they remember that. What was the name of that barbecue?
The barbecue hut, 1418 Lynn Street, downtown, right next door to Heavy's. I had it for like 10 years. And so my mother was doing all the cooking down there. So she said, I know what you're doing. So I never will forget that day. I want to tell I ain't doing nothing. She said, I'm gonna tell you something. Fast money don't last. Yeah. And I never forgot that, man.
Yeah.
She said, you didn't work for it, it's gonna get away from you.
Yeah.
You're gonna spend it like water. You can't tell young people that.
No,
There's something about that fast money, it get away from you, man.
Yeah.
And so I had to include her in there somewhere, and even Brenda, my wife, told me, you can't put your mother in there, but I made it fit, didn't I?
Yeah, it fit. It worked perfect. I mean, it was like, because it added to the, I'm not going to give it,
Yeah, don't give it away.
Or whatever, it fits for that reason why you got it in there. It makes that work. So is it like something that you wish that you could have done, and because we all sometimes, I don't care what filmmaker, I'm pretty sure even on the level of Spielberg, he'll look at something, he'll think like, damn, I just wish we would have did this different, I changed that, not that it takes away or it made anything bad about the movie, but it's just as a personal creative taste. Was there anything that you wish you could have
I think, and it might sound comical to a lot of people, but like you say, all of us are individuals. And I'm a freak for old cars. That's why in the beginning of the movie, I had all them old cars sitting up there. So like, if I had to do it over again, which like I said, ain't a biggie, but I would have included like more cars in the background or something like that. I would have kind of focused on that. And I have to admit, I would have had a torture chamber for them young niggas. But I didn't have enough capital to create a torture chamber down there. But that's what I would have loved to do. If these fools out here robbing and killing, I would have laid their behind down and just tortured the hell out of them. But I didn't have the capital to put that torture chamber.
And then the idea just came to me right quick was we could have just even thought about like had something like we knew somebody that had like a basement. When you had an old style basement, you open the door and then you shove them down in the basement, there ain't no lights on there, then you like get your 4 pit bulls that been over this cage that ain't ate in a week, and you just sit them up and close that door. You know that? Yeah.
This I got another one for you. I got another one for you. Damn, are we sick, man? We talking about all this crazy stuff. This is what I would have loved. Take one of them young fools and put them in a cage with starving rats and put peanut butter on them and just sit back and smoke a joint and watch that.
Yeah. Because it's so much craziness going on.
They nuts, man. All this chilling and we're not saying anything or doing nothing. All we're gonna do is light some candles and march.
That's it.
That's why I am an advocate for enforcing the death penalty.
Well, America is too. They got them. They got old Smokey still around. You want a little gas? We like, they always talking about that gas, that weed. We got a different kind of gas.
That's right. And I got to comment on this. When I hear these idiots talking about the death penalty don't stop this from happening, it don't deter nothing. Okay, you ever heard of Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, right.
You go over there, you steal something, they cut your hands off.
Right.
Okay, if you rape somebody, they cut that off.
Right.
If you kill somebody, they cut your head off. And you know what? Good friend of mine, Billy Ballard, he got that transportation business. He picked up a guy that lived over there. And he told him exactly what I told him. The crime rate is very low.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're giving them consequences.
Right. They see the process here is you might go in the house and kill an entire family. And they might be able to prove that you did it. They might even be able to prove like he was saying he had been planning this stuff for a month. He laid weapons that had him hid around the house, so when he got there, he would. And then they might find you, was you guilty? You might even plead guilty. Yeah, I did it. I ain't afraid to say I did it. Yeah. And then they might say, okay, he's getting the death penalty. Then there's going to be appeals and all of this stuff, and then you stretch it out. Then there might be another governor that comes into office who might be like, I don't know about this death penalty thing. Right. So then you might get to stay alive in prison for another 4 years. So it can be stretched out. Over there, it's different.
It's
They're like, he did it. We know he did it.
That's right.
The gallows is down the street. March his ass down the street and get it over with.
That's right.
So it's like it's not a long ain't no drawn out shit.
I know you heard about what happened to the Godfather out there in California, the Black Godfather.
Yeah, I heard. Yeah,
who he did help so many people in the music industry. This fool broke in his house and killed his wife, who was 80 years old.
Wow.
Now, they need to crucify him upside down and take his body and feed him to the lions. Man. I don't have no sympathy for these fools.
Now, I've reached the point where it's like with this crime thing, it's on a whole nother level, and we're going to touch on some of that, but I want to make sure I get a lot of the people that know stuff about the movie and things that I saw.
Yeah, I get excited with that.
Yeah. I already admitted, excuse me, sorry, that's the alcohol. It's not the alcohol. We used to have these people as a sponsor at one time. Yeah.
You told me that.
They used to provide us with a lot of beer. A lot of fucking beer. And guess what? We used to consume a lot. Know a lot about this union. It's not that. Get that beer bubble and you gotta get it out and it's live on mic. Don't worry about that. I'm not cutting that out either because I'm leaving that in there. You have your books in the movie, like because I mentioned in the beginning of the podcast that you was an author, and being an author, like having your books in there. What was like? What was the meaning? Why did you want to make sure that those books were seen in that movie?
There's an old saying that's been around before I was born and it's going to be here after I'm gone. If you don't want us to know something, just put it in a book. I've never seen a movie, a black movie. Now, I could be wrong, but I had never seen a black movie that promoted books. Books promote reading.
Right.
Okay? That promotes knowledge.
Right.
That's something that we don't do. We watch television, we watch sports, but we don't read. If you don't read, you're not going to succeed. So there was parts of the movie that I dropped books in there, just like with the children's book when I was talking to my grandson. I think that's very important for us to read.
Yeah, reading, like I said, reading is fundamental. And I've been sort of like guilty of that at times because I was talking about that. Matter of fact, on the podcast I had the other day with an author on there, and I was talking about how my reading and I said this too, not because I can't read, I can read very well. I have a tendency to always read about things that most times that contains this stuff. Like, and then and this is something that, you know, when you talk about reading and what we was talking about on this other show, that sometimes pertains to a lot of us in the community, in the hood or whatever, is that I remember coming up during my years in elementary, and nobody was able to address it, but now we got all kind of terminology and this and that, and this is the problem, whatever. But I used to have a hard time, like sometimes if I read something, retaining what it was I just read, or sometimes when I would read something and then the teacher would say, like, we would have an assignment where you had to write down what you read, I might have wrote that sentence somewhat not in the order that it was in the book, but you still understood it. It just wasn't in that order.
Right.
And that was like that for, and the teachers used to just be kind of like, you know, make you feel like, that's not how it's in the book. Why come you can't do it like that? Because motherfucker, I would have been to say it then, bitch, because it's not working like that in my head. I see it like that, but when I go to translate this shit, it's coming out this way.
Right.
But it was a disorder, and I didn't know that, you know. And then that's something that we have to pay more attention to with our kids today, because, and I think they do now, but there's a lot of them that have these disorders that need to be addressed to help them, because when you're having problems like that reading, it makes you where it's like, I know I can read, but it's a struggle. So then you don't want to read.
I believe everybody learns different.
Yeah.
And a lot of times our experiences and what we went through, it leaves an impact on our lives forevermore. You know, that teacher just wasn't a compassionate teacher. No. You know, like in anything, you know, you got some teachers that will go the extra mile and work with kids. It's not that you had a learning disability, right. You just learned different. Right. I myself, I'm a hands-on hand person. You can tell me all day long how to do something, I gotta do it, I gotta experience it. So everybody learns different.
Right. I forget, and the guy mentioned that term yesterday too, and I forget what it's called. I have a form of dyslexia. I learned that later. That it's like when I write, I can, when I'm aware of it, I know how to control it. Like when I go to write, because like sometimes I write a synopsis about the movie first, and I do it on my yellow pad.
Right.
And what happened is my thinking gets past my writing. And so I'm writing too fast and I'm missing stuff. And I have to slow that down to slow it down here so I can, you know, and then it's a whole wording thing, because he was talking about seeing billboards, and sometimes like you see it, you read it, but then if he was to say it to somebody else, he would say it backwards. And I was like, damn.
Well, Lee, you got company.
Yes.
When I'm writing, that's why a lot of times I use a tape recorder or something.
Right.
Because the ideals is coming so fast,
yeah.
You can't put them down.
Right,
and
right.
You know, if you write something and you misplace it and you don't put it down, you might never have it like that no more.
Right, right.
You know, so we all learn different. You know, just some people ain't got enough common sense to realize that.
Right. And some people don't have enough common sense to know this, but I'm gonna take this break. Gonna refresh that. Come back, get a little bit more in there. You can go fill your glass up, do it. Fill it up with what you got, that holiday spirit going on. I know Christmas is what? This coming week? Is it this week?
This Saturday. It's this Saturday.
Help me to make it through this Christmas thing. These heathens got me surrounded with all this anti-Christ Christmas stuff. It's a white man wearing a red robe. He's climbing down people's chimneys and he's giving them toys. So we're back. Yes, got a little bit more. That's what we do. We're alcoholics. Yes, I am. I'm proud of that. I have no problem with it. No, I'm just joking. But people think like, oh Lord, we need to do an intervention for that boy before he end up just rotting out himself drinking all that alcohol. I drink tequila, and I've said this before. You know, tequila is one of the healthiest drinks you can drink.
It is, really.
It can lower your cholesterol. Drink too much of it can lower some other things. Be careful with that. But it's like you can drink. I never get headaches. I never have hangovers. I have none of that stuff when I do tequila. Question I have, because this is something that people always hit me with in doing all of this stuff. And I was like, man, like, you're so smart. How did you learn how to do that stuff? You must have went to school. Why is it that people always believe that everything that you learn to do, that somehow somebody else, you had to pay somebody else a bunch of money to teach you to do something that, you was able to do yourself? So my question to you is, are you one of the people, wow, you made an entire film, you wrote it, you produced it, you directed, you set up all of this stuff, did you go to school to learn how to do this stuff?
No, I didn't. I believe that most people say that, and I'm not knocking people that go to school for it, but I think there are most people that say that, they really believe that you can't do nothing unless you do have a white man's degree. You gotta have his education to be able to do that. But what they fail to forget, some people are just born gifted, creative, they're right. When I was a little boy and I was in school, I would be writing. The teacher would be talking stuff, I'd be in another world.
Right.
And as I grew older, I would write little comic books with notebook paper and put it all together, and I would hand it up to people and they would sit there and read it. In the summertime, it'd be sunshine and beautiful day. I'm in my room writing. My mother used to think something was wrong with me. What's wrong with him? But that was a passion that I was just born with. And I knew I could do that movie.
Right.
I always had a desire to do that, to do a movie. But in my time, if you didn't have no big bucks,
right.
I'm talking about big bucks.
Right.
I didn't have a lot of money when I did Grandpa. It was a small, independent, low-budget film. But with technology, you were
Right.
able to pull it off.
Yeah.
So that was the ultimate for me to do a movie. That was something that I wanted to do. And I felt very confident that I could do it because I just feel like that's me.
Right.
You know your place.
Right.
You when you're doing something and you excel in it, you know that's you. And so I don't really believe that you have to go to school to do this and do that and do this. Because you got some people that never have went to school. They're some of the greatest artists in the world.
Well, this is where I always, bust people's heads with the whole school thing. Is this? Tell me what school it was that Alfred Hitchcock went to. Tell me what school the Cecil B. DeMille's go to. Tell me what school that Buster Douglas, not Buster,
I know you're talking about the South.
Yeah. What school did he go to? What school did Charlie Chaplin go to?
That's what I was gonna name.
What school did they go to? They didn't. What they did was the invention of cinema. A camera came along, motion camera, and people saw this invention. Mm-hmm. And creative minds throughout history have always been, when we see something, we always think of something more we can do with it.
Right.
So somebody saw this, all right, they got motion pictures, and then it's like, I got an idea, what if I told a story of a girl and buying some flowers, and then all of a sudden some creature come from out of the woods, and he walks over and see the girl, and how can I do this with this thing? And they play around to it and keep doing stuff, they keep adding stuff to it, and over the centuries, over the decades, they come up with this damn thing.
Yep.
Now, you're making movies with this.
With the cell phone.
Movies. I mean, legit cinematic movies with a camera. So, it's a progression of technology and a progression of thinking that allow us. No, you don't have to go to school for some people, they need that structure.
Right.
They need that, okay, this is your assignment. And for some of us, it's kind of like, for me, my thing was, I just bought books and just, like I said, that's when I would read. Like, I would buy books about how to do this, how to do that. And that's and people are always like, oh, you're self-taught. I'm like, no, I'm not self-taught. I'm self-educated. It's a difference.
I want to tell you what I used to do. And most people don't do it unless you're really into film. You're really into it deep. I used to watch behind the scenes.
That's some of the best.
That's the school.
That's the
right
school
there. When you watch a movie, now you can't do it because it's all about streaming.
Right.
But on them DVDs, a lot of times on a movie, they would have behind the scenes, how they done it, how they shot it, what went down, and this and that. Right. And I would sit there and watch that and say, that's cold, I like that. And then I watch a lot of classic movies. One thing they used to do with the classic movies that they don't do now is that they never went to a scene, as a filler, like and just show a building. it was constantly, that camera was constantly about the script.
Right.
It was constantly about the script.
Yeah, and sometimes you like what, and sometimes I still do this in my film because I've always appreciated that from the greats, from Orson Welles and them types who did like Citizen Kane.
Citizen Kane, yeah. Rosebud.
There's a scene in Citizen Kane that I love so much, and anytime I'm filming, when I do a scene where I tell actors, we're not going to do a cut shot, this is going to be a 2-shot or whatever, or it's going to be like a continuous shot. It's because I'm always thinking it's that office scene. It's an office scene.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I own that.
All of these different actors are coming, and that scene is shot cut. There's no break in the camera.
Right.
And it's like, those are those moments where you realize when you're working with skilled talent, because they know it's like, all right, after these 3 guys do their lines and we get to the 4th actor, if the 4th actor, somewhere you screw up, and then like, oh shit, looking to the camera, nobody do that, especially only an amateur would be like, oh damn, I messed up. Then that means we gotta go back and start this all over from the beginning again, because we're not gonna have a cut in this scene. And them scenes, man, they don't do that nowadays. It's like, and I've said this before, and it's the truth. The invitation music videos changed the whole everything about film. Movies had to adapt to what was taking place through the making of music videos, because music videos was being geared to the young generation. And movies oftentimes is geared to, they are the biggest buyers. Buying tickets is the young kids, teenagers.
Right.
So when MTV came along and they started doing all these music videos with these fast cuts, what they was doing, and I wouldn't say intentionally, and it could have been in some way, they was basically going to change the thought process of how we view things. So when you start watching these music videos and the scenes are going like this fast,
cut.
Movies had to start being the same way. Right. You actually have producers who would tell an editor, and they do that a lot now in Hollywood, that there need to be a cut. Sometimes like every 10 seconds, we need to have a cut. Every 5 seconds, it need to be going from this person to that person to that person or whatever. Because they realize the viewer today was brought up on MTV, fast cuts. They used to stuff moving. If it's not moving, then they call it. It's attention span.
Their attention span ain't that long.
Yeah.
I have to comment on that, Lee, because to me, it's one of the greatest scenes in the movie. As far as you shooting it, you might come up with something else. And a lot of people that into film have commented on that scene. And when I get out of the Rolls Royce, it's in the beginning of the movie, and I'm walking towards the bar, that's a 3-dimensional shot. See, a lot of people, when they look at something, they just look at it like, okay, it's a nice scene. You got me there, you got the bar, it's like, that's a cold-blooded scene.
And man, I'm telling you, and see, this is the stuff, and I was going to ask you about this whole thing about like what movie magic, and this is one of my parts of movie magic. What you just spoke of is a part of the movie magic for me, because a lot of cinematographers, we all know that, the ones on the highest level know that. Sometimes there are things that are just not pre-seen.
That's right. You
set your camera up, all of a sudden you realize there's this light scheming across, there's something, and it's touching this, and then you see that, and then all of a sudden you realize like, damn, I captured a badass shot.
Right.
You knew that was not your intentions.
Right.
Unless you got up at that specific time of the day. It's like, okay, let me go over here at 11 a.m. exactly and see where the sun is going to be casting at. I did not do that. I just happened to be there at the time he called to set up that scene. And then when I set my camera, because I knew what that location looked like. Mm-hmm. But when you had scheduled that for that particular time, and when the sun was shining then, and when I set the camera, I was like, this is a badass shot right here. You know what I mean?
I'm going to tell you a scene in Grandpa that's movie magic. And because we didn't have the capital to do it. Mm-hmm. When I walk in the bar, okay, I just put a contract out on this young boy. And Snake was in there, and I sit down beside him. And the music is playing. This music is playing. And in the music, it says, I took me a drink. We didn't have the capital to keep going back and forth to make that song say that. I actually is taking a drink when that goes down. That's movie magic.
Yeah, oftentimes
we didn't do that.
Yeah,
you know,
man, it's like
that's movie magic, man.
And
you know,
editors, y'all know this for a fact. So often when you're doing editing on a movie, especially when you start doing the score for the film, you'll say, well, I'm gonna lay this track in there. I think it'll sound perfect for that scene. And then you'll lay that track in there, and you haven't put it in there, you know, where it's set or whatever. You're just trying to kind of get a feel to see how it sounds. This has happened to me so often where I'm like, man, that shit was like a pair, it was a couple. You lay that track down, you're watching it, and a certain beat might change up in there right when an actor made a certain move
what I'm
or
talking
whatever,
about. That's
or
what I'm
a
talking
line to come up when the actor is doing something. And you're like, how in the fuck did that line come up right when he was doing? Like,
yeah,
you know, it's like it was meant to happen.
Lee, I have rewinded that scene back so many times because when on that record when he said, I sipped on me a drink, I'm pouring that drink right there. You know, that's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
That's mind-boggling.
Yeah, that's the beautiful thing, man. Like with the whole independent film, the freedom that I think so many take for granted today because of technology. That sometimes, and that's why sometimes I pay homage to past filmmakers or movies or whatever.
Oh man,
because they didn't have the advancement of this kind of stuff. They didn't have the advancement of this technology. And we was talking about this with a guy the other day in a podcast because he was talking about music and being able to distribute your stuff. Back in the old days, what made it so hard for a creative mind or like me, yourself, there was gatekeepers. You know, they was the one that guarded the palace. And it's like, who goes there to the Hollywood doors? No, we're not letting you in with this rubbish. Get away from here, you peasant. Go away. And you walked away, damn. You went back home, back to Kansas. Did they like you out there in Hollywood? No, but send me back home. And you couldn't get your film done because you didn't have their money. You couldn't get it financed. They didn't let you in the door. But then, fast forward, year 2021 going into 22, you know what? You can walk over to the gatekeeper's door and like, hey gatekeeper, I got this, bitch.
That's
you know, I can make my own movie.
That's right.
So the invention and the advancement of technology has made it wonderful to today's filmmaker. And when it came to where you may have been able to financially get the money to make a movie, even before the advancement of all the technology, and even if you was to find a way to get beyond the so-called gatekeeper, where like, you know what, gatekeeper, I got the money, I'm gonna make my movie. Then the issue became distribution. How do I get this movie distributed? But again, the advancement in technology now, you can create your own streaming sites, you can get your stuff online, you can set it up where people can pay to watch your movie. Oh, man, it's just, man.
You know,
it's beautiful,
it's open there. And social media, I don't care what nobody say, it has this, you know, positive and negatives, but without social media, an independent artist wouldn't have a voice.
No.
You know, that's what social media has given you. And I tell people all the time, they got some positive stuff on social media. It's called on what you want to watch.
Right.
You can learn anything you want to learn from YouTube.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I support businesses that support me.
Yeah, you know,
I'm strong about it.
Yeah, that was kind of just like a thing I was noticing the other day about that. And instead of me really talking about it, it's just something that I do now. But it's about that what you just said, supporting those who support you. Because a lot of times, and I remember hearing somebody say this on Ricky Smiley's show in the morning. And sometimes we're so quick to show so much support for other people, and then sometimes step back and think like, has this person ever really came out and done anything to support you? Why are you always on this motherfucker page and always blah, blah, blah? Like,
he's a celebrity. That's all it is.
Yeah.
He's a celebrity.
Yeah. So we live in such a crazy world. I kind of like to want to close it out on this because we're going into this Christmas holiday. But for those of you who love Christmas, Merry Christmas, enjoy, have a great time, open the gifts. I hope you enjoy it. I really do. I do. Because it's all about, it's about the kids. It's like, for me, it's all about the kids. And that's what's so important in our world today, because we're living in this world now. When I think about children, it saddens me a lot of time, because I think about the advantages I've had to make it to this place in my life where I'm 60 years old. Yeah, I am 60. I turned 60 in October. Damn it, I said it once before. I look pretty good for 60. There used to be a time I wouldn't say how old I am, but now I do. Anyway, I digress. So we live in this world today where we look at the advantages we had that allowed us to make it to the age we are. And we look at young people today, and you just look at some of them, and you just be wondering, man, like, man, you don't even make it to 15, 20, 30. Like 30 is like really pushing it. And it's like, when you touched on that, the crime thing, and I thought about when I saw you on the WLW news special, what news about the shooting that took place.
Yeah.
Because we live in a society, man, where just, there's no compassion. There's no thought for your fellow human being, your fellow man. And a lot of times, it comes from a lot of these young people. And you talked about the death penalty and these type of things that may need to be enforced, just as some measure to make people like think for a second before you do this dumb shit, before you run up in there squeezing this trigger. Just know this: if they catch your ass,
that's right.
We got old Sparky. If you don't like old Sparky, I know how you like that gas, cause y'all, we got some gas for you, but you ain't smoking this motherfucker like this. We're gonna have your ass strapped in. You're gonna be like, that's a gas. Cause man, it's crazy out here, man. It's like we live in these uncertain times today, where for me, when I turn that corner at the top of the hill, and I'm coming down my street, and I get here, I'm like this sanctuary. I'm in the compounds of my home. I'm safe here. I got alarms. I got weapons. You know, you fuck around and come in at the wrong time. So when holiday time come around and we think about crime and all that kind of stuff, and then there's just like so much stuff that be happening in our communities and less fortunate, and you know, that's always been sort of my, like today with my struggle with the holidays and stuff like that. I think about the others who are less fortunate, because for me, I can care less about Christmas. Like, I sit in the house, eat, chill, watch the games. I'm good. I'm not worried about nobody bringing me no gift. If you don't bring me a gift, no problem. You're not worried. You're not getting one anyway. So it's just a different thing. But it's I think so much about the children though. It's like the kids that during this time that man, like they're down there in Kentucky with the tornado.
Oh man.
Can you, man?
That's devastating.
Devastating loss.
Sometimes I can't watch the news.
Man, the news is depressed the hell out of you, man. It's reality, and it's like I have people they say tell me all the time, man, you watch the news all the time, like, don't that shit depress you? Yeah, motherfucker depress me, but somebody gotta watch this shit so I can inform y'all that ain't watching it, because it is depressing. And it's kind of like you think about the holiday time coming up, and you think about how many people down in that region had put up their trees, made their plans, had their gifts, all of this, you know, the expectation of what was going to come, and then this disaster takes place and just wipes out everything, and it's just such a game changer. And it's like you said, it don't get no better, man. Me and my boy Peanut, we talk about this, like, bruh, we're in the end of times, man. It's like the shit.
I did that video. Is this the end?
Yeah.
A lot of people didn't want to watch it.
Yeah.
You know, I told you, I think it was 3 or 4 years ago, we're going to still be walking around with this mask. The world will never be like it was.
No.
It'll never be like the party is over.
The party is over.
They don't want to accept
the party. And you know, they all saying as if like over this holiday week that shit's going to escalate, because they're even back to on CNN now showing the death toll count. They got away from that. Now they back to showing the number of people that's dying every day, and I thought, damn, we back to that, like 1,200 deaths a day? Like, that's like, but
it's insane.
That's where we at.
It's insane.
I hope we didn't depress y'all too much at the end. Sorry if we did. Just if we did, just go by your tree. I don't know, give it a hug. Say Merry Christmas to your tree. Look at the gifts. Think about what's about to happen this weekend. Also, though, give thanks and thoughts to people who will not be enjoying this like you are, and sometimes just give a thought for that. It's just for a second. Hope you enjoyed the show. Hope you enjoyed the guest I had. He brought you a lot of information about Grandpa the movie, which you're going to see information at the bottom of the screen, how you can find it on YouTube, so you can look it up and check it out for yourself. Any closing remarks, my man?
Only thing I like to say right quick, if you are an actor or an actress, this is something that movie producers don't talk about it. Please stay in contact with that producer. If you're in an independent film, you know, and you don't take it lightly, you never know who might see you in that independent film and call that person and say, hey, you know what? I want to put him in this movie, but I don't have your number. The producer don't have your number. So you will go to your grave never knowing that you had the opportunity of a lifetime. Stay in contact with that producer.
Think about it. Thanks to Gary Locks, Louisville, Premium Cigars, get you some. Basement Show After Dark. Basement Show After Dark. That's an old show. Damn.
I think you've been doing something too much.
It's a tequila and I'm hitting the wrong stripes and stuff. Is an intervention needed? Possibly. Show up at my door, talk about intervention. We taking your tequila away, pulling out the Glock. Back the fuck up. You're not taking the tequila. Hope you enjoyed the show. Hope you enjoy your holiday. Be safe out there. Catch you on the next one. Basement Show, Basement Talk. We out.
All right, my man.